Mutant giant spiders are taking over an entire town and want to kill all its residents. In the mining town of Prosperity, Arizona, an eccentric radio host named Harlan passionately broadcasts an array of conspiracy theories and ominous predictions about an impending alien invasion on his unconventional free radio show. Meanwhile, a truck from the Venomous company is transporting chemicals, and its driver is listening to Harlan's show. Suddenly, he sees a rabbit on the road. To avoid hitting it, he swerves sharply, causing one of the barrels of chemicals to fall off the truck and roll into a pond. Some time later, a man named Joshua comes to the pond and collects now poisonous insects for his spiders. A week later, a boy named Mike visits Joshua's exotic spider farm. Mike often visits Joshua and curiously observes his pets. Mike notices that one of the spiders has grown larger, and Joshua explains that the secret is in the nutrient-rich crickets that recently appeared at the pond.
Whoa! He was hungry.
Joshua continues to talk about his spiders and their habits, unaware that he is feeding them poisoned insects. Mike suddenly remembers he has to run. He promises to come back in a week, and Joshua says that by then, the spiders will be twice as big. As Mike runs off, Joshua notices that one of his spiders is missing. He searches everywhere, only to find the spider on his back. Soon, the creature crawls to his neck and bites him. Joshua screams in pain and loses control, causing all the spider tanks to topple over. Hundreds of terrifying creatures spill out and launch a frenzied attack on him. A week later, Mike heads to Joshua's farm again but runs into his mother, Samantha, the local sheriff, and her deputy, Pete. They are pulling the same barrel of chemicals out of the water and mention that the pond is now contaminated. Samantha promptly orders the water samples to be sent to a lab for urgent analysis, while Mike hurries to warn Joshua about the danger. However, his mother intervenes, stopping him and reminding him that she had strictly forbidden him from going to the spider farm due to the dangerous spiders and the distressing nightmares they cause him. Samantha puts her son in the car, and they head home. On the way, she spots some motorcyclists and decides to stop them and issue speeding tickets. Among the bikers is the sheriff's older daughter, Ashley, who pleads with her mother not to ticket her friends. Nevertheless, Samantha sends Ashley to the car with Mike. That evening, Mike tries to call Joshua to check if he's okay. However, Joshua doesn't answer anymore. His entire farm is now covered in webs, with giant mutated spiders roaming freely. Later, a town meeting is held at the Prosperity Mall. The mayor announces that the Venomous company is planning to buy out the entire nearly bankrupt town and pay for the residents to relocate. However, people are skeptical of the idea, suspecting that the buyers are simply interested in accessing the mines beneath their homes. The mayor reminds them that since the death of the mine owner, McCormick, the mines haven't generated any income, so it's worth taking the opportunity to get a decent sum from selling their property. One man mentions that shortly before his death, McCormick found a gold vein in the mines, but the mayor assures everyone that it was just a hallucination. At this point, Chris McCormick, the son of the late miner, enters the hall and declares that he believes his father and has no intention of selling the mines. The other residents support him, and Chris leaves the meeting. The mayor tries to stop him and expresses surprise at his sudden interest in the town's fate, pointing out that he has been absent for 10 years and didn't even attend his father's funeral. Chris loses his temper and punches the mayor in the face. Samantha immediately intervenes to break up the fight and then advises Chris to be more careful. It is revealed that Chris was once in love with Samantha and even beat up her husband for his infidelity before leaving town. Chris's aunt, Gladys, notices that he still has feelings for Samantha and casually mentions over breakfast that Samantha is now divorced, suggesting he talk to her. Meanwhile, the spiders have left Joshua's farm and are already invading the homes of Prosperity residents. A distressed and shaken Pete calls Samantha to tell her that something dragged his cat behind a wall and devoured it. Samantha sympathizes with her deputy, but they have no idea what could have caused the hole. Seeing that his mother is preoccupied with the conversation, Mike is eager to head to Joshua's but is disappointed to find his bike handcuffed to a pipe. Soon after, Chris arrives at their house with a bouquet of flowers. He awkwardly asks Samantha out on a date and nearly forgets to hand her the flowers. Meanwhile, Mike manages to sneak out of the house. After walking to Joshua's farm, he finds the place covered in webs and records his impressions on video. He then decides to check out the mine next to the farm and spots a giant spider. Fortunately, he escapes before the spider notices him. Chris also arrives at his father's mine, where he gives instructions to a group of gold prospectors. He reminds them that the mines have a high concentration of methane and that they must work with masks on. On his way back, Mike sees Chris heading home and asks for a ride. Mike shows Chris a huge piece of spider leg he found in the mine and explains that the spiders have become uncontrollable and are living in the mines. Chris laughs it off, thinking the leg looks like a dried up cactus. Mike sneaks back into his house through a window, but Samantha catches him. Mike tells her he was at Joshua's farm and that his spiders are now a danger to the entire town. Samantha doesn't believe him, thinking he made it up after watching a monster show on TV, and punishes him. At the same time, one of the miners discovers that a water pipe is clogged. He decides to blow into it to clear it, but his expression suddenly changes and frozen for a few seconds, the miner opens his mouth, and several spiders crawl out, after which he is dragged away by the Spider Queen, Consuela. The spiders also attack the mayor's ostrich farm. Hearing the commotion, the mayor goes to check on the birds, only to witness some of them being brutally torn apart by the horrific arachnids. Soon after, Harlan's free radio begins reporting a series of unexplained attacks on pets, which fuels a wave of rumors and speculation among the townspeople, further intensifying their anxiety and fear. Meanwhile, Ashley is spending time with her boyfriend, Brett, in a car while his friends ride motorcycles nearby. The couple is kissing, but Brett starts getting pushy. Ashley repeatedly asks him to stop, but he ignores her. Finally, she uses the stun gun her mother gave her for self-defense. Brett is jolted out of the car and wets his pants from the shock. Ashley takes the car and drives off, leaving him behind. Soon, Brett notices giant spiders approaching and runs to warn his friends, but they just laugh at his wet pants. Then the spiders reach the group of unsuspecting guys. The motorcyclists try to escape, but the spiders are much faster and more agile, eventually attacking each one of them in turn. Only Brett manages to get away. He crosses the road right in front of a fuel tanker, and the spiders chasing him crash into the truck. The driver loses control and crashes into a power line pole, causing a massive explosion that destroys the spiders. Brett is relieved, thinking he has defeated the spiders and that the danger is over. However, the unscathed arachnids emerge from the flames and continue chasing him. Brett soon hides in a mine, blocking the entrance with rocks to keep the spiders out. But inside the mine, he finds new monsters and the bodies of their victims in cocoons. Meanwhile, Chris's Aunt Gladys continues to listen to free radio. Suddenly, her dog hears strange noises from the basement. The dog runs downstairs and starts barking at a large hole made by the spiders. Seconds later, a giant spider emerges and drags the unfortunate animal away. Gladys, who is about to feed the dog, realizes it's missing. She cautiously goes down to the basement and is horrified to discover a hole in the wall leading to the mines. Gladys approaches the hole and finds her dog's collar. Worried, she decides to enter the mine to find her dog, but a huge spider attacks and wraps her in a cocoon. At the same time, Chris returns home. Hearing Gladys's screams from the basement, he rushes downstairs and finds a spider leg at the mine entrance. Realizing Mike was right and it wasn't a cactus, he quickly flees from the mine. Chris soon arrives at Samantha's house and shows Mike a fragment of a spider leg. Using a specialized program, Mike calculates the size of the spider it came from. Samantha watches Chris and Mike's conversation in disbelief, thinking they are insane. Chris insists that the giant spiders are real and that they killed his Aunt Gladys. However, Mike believes she might still be alive. If a male spider attacked her, he might have just wrapped her in webbing to present her as a gift to a female spider. Meanwhile, Ashley, fresh out of the shower, is tearing up photos of herself with Brett. Suddenly, a giant spider creeps into her room through the window. She notices it too late and is quickly webbed to the wall. Ashley tries to reach her stun gun to fend off the spider but fails. Fortunately, her screams alert Chris, Mike, and Samantha, who rush to help. Chris tries to fend off the spider with a chair and scissors, but the spider overpowers him, webbing him up as well. Luckily, Samantha manages to grab a shotgun and fires several shots at the spider, eventually killing it.
Hey, Spidey!
Samantha contacts Pete via radio, since phone lines in the town are down, and instructs him to gather all available weapons and come to her. Pete doesn't understand why she needs the weapons but complies with her order. Meanwhile, the spiders advance toward the town center, attacking men in a barbershop and then chasing Pete's car as he drives to Samantha's house with the weapons. While waiting for Pete, Mike explains that Joshua's farm had around 200 spiders and they are nocturnal hunters, so they need to warn all the residents. Samantha notes that the phones are down, but they notice the radio. Mike suggests using the radio to alert the townspeople, but Ashley doubts anyone will believe Harlan. Soon, Pete arrives at the house, and spiders begin to surround his car. Chris, Samantha, and the kids hear Pete's arrival and rush to his car, shooting at the persistent spiders along the way. They eventually reach Harlan's trailer, and Samantha officially announces the giant spider invasion to the town, advising everyone to arm themselves. However, no one believes her, thinking it's another of Harlan's stunts. Meanwhile, Mike, Ashley, and Pete, still in the car outside, notice a giant tarantula approaching the trailer. Mike informs his mother via radio and advises them to stay silent, but the tarantula attacks the trailer anyway. Samantha decides to gather all the townspeople at Prosperity Mall. Chris is surprised by her choice of location, and Samantha explains that it has steel doors and concrete walls. At this time, the tarantula starts overturning the trailer, and the sounds heard by the people on the radio convince them that the town is indeed in danger. Samantha, Chris, and Harlan escape from the trailer and jump into Pete's car, but the spiders continue to chase them. Soon, numerous arachnids reach the town center, causing chaos. The spiders take over street by street, destroying everything and everyone in their path. All survivors, including the mayor, rush to the mall. Samantha keeps shooting at the monsters until the last moment but manages to get inside before the main gates close. Inside the mall, the gathered townspeople demand an explanation. Harlan insists that the spiders are aliens and claims he warned the residents beforehand, but no one believes him. Mike explains that the spiders are attracted to vibrations, so everyone needs to speak and move as little as possible. The mayor asks why Samantha didn't call the military, and she reminds him that there is no phone service. The mayor then suggests using a cell phone, but to get a signal, they need to go up to the roof. Chris and Harlan set off to find a signal, while Samantha gives clear instructions to the townspeople, urging them to use anything they can as weapons to defend themselves and stay safe. Samantha also heads to the roof, but before they go, Mike runs up with bottles of perfume. He explains that this will confuse the spiders because they have a very keen sense of smell. Meanwhile, besides the hundreds of relatively small spiders, the Queen Consuela approaches the mall and is about to breach the main entrance. Spiders manage to jump onto the roof where Chris is calling 911. He yells into the phone that their town is being taken over by giant spiders, but the dispatcher doesn't believe him and hangs up.
They're here! You're damn right! That's what I've been telling you!
Consuela continues to break through the gates, and Samantha instructs Ashley to lead all the injured and children into the mines beneath the mall, unaware that they are also infested with spiders. Samantha and the remaining armed townspeople prepare to face Consuela. However, the queen spider, peeking inside, decides to let in hundreds of smaller spiders, which are much harder to kill. Samantha and the others also head to the basement, shooting at the arachnids, but they can't defeat them. Pete decides to stay on the ground floor to distract the spiders and give the others a chance to hide in the mine. Pete miraculously survives and soon finds himself outside, where he encounters Harlan. Harlan reveals that he had deliberately drawn the spiders' attention to himself in a brave attempt to allow Chris to escape unharmed. Meanwhile, Brett, still wandering in the mines, encounters the mayor, who entered the basement earlier than the others. Brett explains that giant spiders are chasing him, and then a spider grabs the mayor. On the way to the basement, Samantha meets Chris, who descended from the roof through the ventilation, and they join the others. They find the door to the mine locked from the outside, but Brett breaks it down. Several spiders appear behind him, but the survivors successfully shoot them down before heading into the mines. Deep in the mines, a strange odor fills the air, prompting Chris to explain that it's methane. He warns the group that any spark could trigger a catastrophic explosion and urgently advises everyone to exercise extreme caution. Soon, spiders attack one of the survivors, and everyone wants to shoot them, but Chris reminds them they can't, so Samantha takes out the monsters with a crossbow. The group finds themselves among numerous cocoons with victims and discovers the mayor is still alive in one of them. Chris realizes his Aunt Gladys might also be alive and decides to search for her. But first, Chris finally confesses his feelings to Samantha and then asks to power up the generators to restore electricity in the mines and blow them up along with the spiders. As the survivors make their way to the exit, Chris takes a moment to inspect the cocoons. In one of them, he discovers Gladys alive, and in a fortunate twist, he also stumbles upon a gold vein his father had once mentioned. Just then, Consuela appears, and Chris points his gun at her, but he remembers he can't shoot because of the methane. So, Chris decides to use the perfume Mike brought, which works and disorients the spider for a while. Chris and Gladys manage to escape the spiders on Brett's motorcycle, and on the way, Chris manages to stick matches into a light bulb. At the same time, Samantha and the others find the generator, and Ashley's taser helps them start it. As soon as Samantha turns on the generator, massive explosions occur in the mines, destroying the giant spiders, including Consuela. Fortunately, Chris and Gladys make it out of the mine at the last second without getting hurt. After everything is over, rescuers arrive on the scene, accompanied by Pete and Harlan, who had summoned them for help. Harlan is still convinced they were aliens, leaving the rescuers intrigued and eager to investigate the situation for themselves. Soon after these incredible events, Harlan tells his listeners about the spider incident, sticking to his alien theory. He also mentions that Chris is assembling a new team of gold prospectors, having confirmed that there is indeed gold in the mines. How would you fight giant spiders? Share your ideas in the comments below, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.